I was thinking, and hear me out, rock, paper, scissors.
Again?
Again.
All right. You lead this time.
Okay. Because I don't want to do the intro.
Ready? You lead.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Fuck! I'm going to big brain this. I'm going to big brain it.
Ready?
Ready?
Rock,
Rock.
paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, that's one for me, baby.
No, wait,
No, wait.
No.
Wait. All right. Ready?
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Fuck!
I really have to think about this. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes!
No!
Megan, why don't you go ahead and do the intro for us today?
You would like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I fucking would, Meg.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, guys. Welcome to the channel.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to Rated MA. If you get that reference, we love you.
Yes.
This is Meg. I am Meg. That is Allie.
I'm Allie.
Today we are continuing our Andor watch for season 1, episode 2. I don't know the title of it because Allie actually hasn't pulled it up. So
it's called That Would Be Me, Megan.
That would be me. Also, that would be me to come off as fucking lazy. I swear I do things. No notes.
No note. Car gone. You could have died.
No notes.
Notes.
Wearing sweatpants while recording.
You're exposing me so bad right now. You know what?
You know, sometimes you just
So
gotta wear
what?
sweatpants.
You do.
Sometimes you gotta. I'm not, by the way. But sometimes you have to. Yeah, guys, so today we are continuing our Andor rewatch.
Continuing.
I'll kill you.
I'm sorry.
As I was saying, today we are continuing our Andor rewatch. Meg and I have seen the show before, but we are coming at this from a different perspective in our first episode, the pilot of Andor. So what we're going to be doing in this today, I'm going to be watching episode 2, which is called That Would Be Me. And then towards the end, we're going to do kind of our initial reaction. This is going to be, it's not a first time watch for Meg, obviously, because she's seen it before, but it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's kind of like watching it for the first time, even though it's been a few years. It's been a few years since I've seen it as well, though I do remember some of the details, not all of them. But at the end, we're going to sit down and kind of break down the episode, do a little bit of an initial reaction, talk about the show, things we liked, things we didn't like. And we're going to come at it kind of from more of a technical angle in terms of lighting, cinematography, some of the writing. I'm going to talk a lot about the writing probably. So if that's of interest to you, we will be watching episode 2. We're going to do all of Andor, and we're going to be watching season 2 as well when that does come out next month. For those watching now, we're recording this in late March. Don't know when you guys are going to see it, but just so you know.
Thanks, Allie, for doing that second half of the intro.
You're so welcome. I won rock, paper, scissors, and I still did all that.
You really did.
That was a puppet. I did not even notice that. That looked like stop motion. That was cool.
That was really cool.
We're back on Canary?
Canary.
There he is, little Casa.
Casa's such a cute little nickname.
Oh, here's the mines, because, right, Canary is a mining town, I think.
It looks so sad.
Yeah.
Deforestation, man. That's what happens.
Stop killing the environment, please.
Please stop.
Love a Dutch angle. Would you like to describe to the audience what a Dutch angle is?
Absolutely.
Here's another one.
A Dutch angle is basically to kind of portray if something like is like a little off kilter, like things are a little bit different, a little uneasy. It's because we're so used to stabilization and having everything at an equal level in our lives. So whenever you distort that just a little bit, it's going to cause a little unease.
The choice to do it here is so
Is interesting.
It's so interesting. I think they can be overused and used incorrectly, but when they are used right, they are so good.
Yeah, they're used a lot in like horror films. So if you like really watch a lot of horror films or anything with suspense, like a lot of times they do it just to make the audience feel and kind of influence them feeling a little uneasy.
Also, I think a Dutch angle makes sense because the guy ringing this, what is, I'm assuming, like a summoning bell, or
Yeah.
like an end of, and maybe it's an end of the day thing because it looks like it's night here. It has like that discordant hollow sound. It feels kind of uneasy. And it feels like the tension here on Ferrix is uneasy too, because we know that Cassian is now wanted. We know that people are after him, that Bix has sent a call out to someone potentially to come. It kind of has like a weird, a weird vibe to it. It's interesting.
Just lock up the back. I'll take care of all this.
Thank you.
Yep.
He does not trust her, man.
Nope. He's jealous of Cassian. This is so cool. This is such a great use of text in film. B2.
I love the droids.
Everyone say hello, Petunia Dursley. Unbelievable actress. Amazing actress.
And when I first saw this, I was like, is that?
I know. Everyone did the same thing. We were like, huh?
Who else knows
About what?
that you were born in Canary?
You don't want to hear what happened?
We'll get to that. But who knows? Who have we told?
I don't know.
We have always said Fest. Every
Fest.
doc I've ever submitted.
Fun fact about that, I actually know why they make this distinction that Cassian is from Fest. I believe in one of the Star Wars source books, one of the extended edition materials that talked about Rogue One stated that Cassian Andor was from a planet called Fest. And when they were doing the show, I think they said that he was from Canary. I think it just had to do with like there was conflated information on where he was from. So when they did the show, they wrote into it that Cassian was originally from Canary, but was using Fest as an alibi, which I think is so clever.
That is really clever.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where I heard about that, but I heard about that at some point because I think back in the Rogue One days, which was, 10 years ago, 10 years ago now, that he was from Fest, and maybe it was mentioned in Rogue One, I don't remember, but it was mentioned somewhere that Cassian was from Fest. And then I think it was mentioned somewhere else that he was from a planet called Canary, and then everyone was like, why he can't be from two different planets, and the show was like, checkmate.
I won't forget this.
This creepy ass shot.
I know, but I love it though.
I know. It's so good. I mean, I think anyone watching this could tell who is watching them from that shot alone.
For sure. 100%. I love shots like that. I think they're so cool.
Again, the lighting in here, very blue.
It is. I mean, there's blues going on in his life right now. Very cool, very cold.
Even this like white light, the pure white is very
It's like very sterile. It reminds me of like a hospital, which is very cold.
Sterile is a perfect word for it. But like contrasted with like the daytime feel of Ferrix, where it's like all the browns and the golds and the oranges, where it's super warm.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm coming to associate blue with Morlana 1 and with the people hunting Cassian. And I'm associating like the warmer tones with Cassian and his backstory and his loved ones. So that's kind of interesting. You ever call ice on your girlfriend's ex-boyfriend because you're mad jealous?
Pockets of fermenting. Corporate tactical forces are the Empire's first line of defense, and the best way to keep the blade sharp is to use it. So, well.
I don't think that's correct, but I get the sentiment.
I will say I love how they had, like, that kind of rhythmic thing for him too, because it shows that he's been there probably quite a few times.
It has a fucking gear on it. Oh my god. That gear, now that I have the hindsight of having seen this whole show, the prison that Cassian is eventually taken to in the 4th act, or the 3rd or 4th act of the show, is shaped like a gear.
Foreshadowing.
I mean, I didn't notice it, or if I did, I didn't clock it before. I mean, I know that that cog is, you know, recognizable as part of the Empire, but he's got this thing that he's holding on to that is a physical manifestation of the prison he is eventually kept in. It's awesome. It's so good.
They did this show very well.
I know, I love the show. This is my favorite of the Star Wars shows. Okay, so this is the ship that crash landed at the middle of the first episode.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Stellan Skarsgård, my beloved.
This time.
The shuttle will be 2.3 clicks away.
There's nothing closer.
Nothing safe.
Stellan Skarsgård is perhaps one of the best actors I've ever seen. Like the war drum kind of kicking in the background. War is coming to Ferrix. I love it.
You have credits for Marva. You need to tell me where you're hiding them.
Because we don't want someone else to find Marva's credits, do we?
I agree. You should stay.
Oh, I love him.
That's Molly every day I leave for work.
You should stay. Why is that man yellow?
Probably poisoning of some sort.
He just had
Jaundice.
jaundice.
It's a really severe case.
It killed him.
Oh, we got a live one.
I want to know why they didn't warn her.
I guess so to not expose themselves. They've probably also never seen those types of weapons.
Probably not. That guy's got the same aim as a goddamn stormtrooper.
So sad.
Yeah, the minute that I started watching Andor and they killed a kid in the 2nd episode, I was like, oh, this was gonna be different.
Cassian Andor.
That's a good picture of him.
He's hot as fuck.
He's so hot.
I say for the 3rd time this episode.
You believe this? Incredible, right?
I will say I like that vehicle. That's pretty cool.
Isn't it cool? Like, fucking, it looks like a bus.
I love that shot too. That was already it?
Yeah, dude, I know, right?
You're joking.
I remembered that was how that episode ended, was with Luthen getting there. Because you got to remember, they came out in pods of 3, right? So that was the 2nd episode, and then the 3rd episode is Luthen and Cassian meeting for the first time, I think.
It felt like 2 seconds.
It's got real good tension in it, and I think that helps carry it through on a narrative arc, even though it's showing you like a grouping of scenes at a time. So it's showing you the scenes of the children on Kenari, then it's showing you Cyril, then it's showing you Cassian, then back to the kids, back to Cyril, back to Cassian, over and over and over again until you get through what is a 35-minute episode. And it feels like it's like an instant.
It does. It does feel like it's like an instant because I was just like, oh, we just started.
Well, what did you think of episode 2 of season 1 of Andor? That would be me. What did you think, Meg?
I like this episode actually better than the first episode. I like the first episode, but this one, I don't know, it's just a little bit more something. I think it's just because the attention's building a little bit more. So I think that's why I'm like, okay, okay, like to see where things are going. So yeah, that's my consensus. What about you?
I think I would agree that I like this one more than the pilot, even though I enjoyed the pilot just fine. I don't think there's a single scene in this entire episode where you're not like, "Oh, something's coming."
It's just like, okay, something's coming. Is it not? No.
Is it now?
Now? No.
Even specifically in the scene with Bix and her boyfriend Tim, when she comes to him, the audience knows that he's betrayed her and betrayed Cassian by giving him up to the authorities. We know that that's happened and he sleeps with her and then she wakes up the next day and he's just like sitting in bed and she's like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "Oh, I couldn't sleep." "Yeah, cuz you have a guilty fucking conscience cuz you called ice on Cassian."
Bix is gonna really regret that night.
Did you happen to take any notes on this episode?
I took some that, the fact that like Cassian is being hunted down, so it's just gonna kind of be interesting, like because the buyer is coming, so there's that tension kind of growing, and he's kind of getting ready for that, but he knows he's basically gonna be on the run, so he's just like, "Oh, well, now I gotta get this, and I gotta go." So get this done like as soon as possible, and then Vix, yeah, her what's the boyfriend's name again?
Tim.
Tim. What kind of fuck ass plain name in the Star Wars universe?
Well, to be fair, you've got Luke and Leia
Yeah,
and
Luke.
Mon Mothma,
Yeah. No,
you
that's
know?
true. Luke is a pretty, like, standard
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, when your parents' names are Anakin and Padme, of course they're gonna name you some bullshit white savior shit like Luke. George Lucas, I see you. Yeah, I took a few notes. We talked about a little bit of it during the show. We got the introduction to a couple of new characters this time around. We learned about Sergeant Musk, who is another kind of Empire specialist who's here to help Cyril. Cyril, of course, is the investigative agent who is currently hunting down Cassian. We also met Marva, who seems to be like a mother figure or parental figure to Cassian, as well as Luthen. Although I don't believe we caught Luthen's name. I just know his name because I've seen the show. We met Luthen as well, who seems to be the buyer that Bix had made reference to, that she called and said, "Hey, Cassian wants to meet with you. He's coming to meet Cassian." We know about that. We had some interesting things that came up. I mentioned the gear that was on the Starpath unit. Of course, that is a symbol of the Empire. My favorite episode in the entire season is One Way Out. One Way Out? No Way Out?
One way out.
Which is the 10th episode, which is one of my favorite episodes of TV of all time. It's a phenomenal episode. But the prison that Cassian stays in after he gets caught is shaped like a gear as well. So that's immediately the imagery of that is what it made me think of, associated it very heavily with the Empire. There was something that Sergeant Mosk said where he was talking about pockets are forming against the Empire, which is the beginnings of the resistance, which we know is coming. But he made a comment where he said the best way to keep a blade sharp is to use it.
Yes! I literally took a note on that too.
I thought that, first of all, great line.
Yeah, amazing line.
If you use a blade too much, it dulls.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking, because if you already sharpen it and you let it sit, it's gonna still stay sharp.
Yes. But it's another thing too. That saying to me invokes the imagery of that's what the Empire believes. They believe the best way to use a blade, or the best way to keep a blade sharp, is to use it. So we have this instrument of destruction. The best way that we can keep it as it is to keep using it, and that'll make things better. And that's 100% not how shit goes, as we, the collective audience of the Star Wars universe, know, because they use the Death Star, I think, a total of 2 times, and then Luke blows that motherfucker to smithereens. So, that's how shit goes here. The line it invokes such pretty imagery, but in terms of like, there's a moment where you think about it and you're like, is that true? I don't know about that.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. So there's that. I made a whole note about that line because I love that line, and I love it in the context of someone from the Empire who truly believes that he believes it when he says it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I also made a note about the fact that they seemingly killed the leader of the Canary children back on Cassian's planet.
You can tell in that moment, like, Cassian, his innocence, like, whatever he had was pretty much, like, over with. So,
hmm
just the look on his face, the stance that he had, he was like, "Oh," like, almost like it's on in a way, but just kind of that was that was the end of that, and now he's carrying on and turning into the Cassian that he is today from that event.
There's also too there's a very famous line from Rogue One in which Cassian and Jyn Erso, are having a conversation after they go to a planet to see Jin's father. Jin's father is the one who I believe designed the Death Star or was part of like one of the architects that built it. And it's right after her father dies. They go to visit him, and the Empire knows that they're supposed to be there. They end up blowing up the base because he's been squirreling information away to the Resistance to try and stop the Death Star. They blow his ass up. He dies. And when Jyn is there, she sees everything happening. Cassian has to pull her away. They get back on the ship, and she accuses him of knowing, like, you knew my father was here, like you knew they were going to try and kill him. And Cassian turns to her and he says, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
And it's such a great line. But we know, I think we as the audience can understand that Cassian is not 6 when he's
No.
on his planet of Kenari. He is older than that. We also learned though in this episode that his planet Kenari is considered abandoned,
Yeah.
which we know it's not because there are people that live there, and that it's considered toxic, which obviously it isn't because people are still surviving there, or at least the children are. But that there was a mining disaster in which all of the adults likely died, which is why there are no adults here on Cassian's planet. And Cassian, I think, believes that the Empire is to blame for all of the adults leaving. So I would likely assume that when he was 6, which was likely a few years prior, the mining base had their big accident. His parents died. He became the sole provider for his sister. And then all this stuff happened. And now push back to what we saw in this episode, where it's like, this is his first real brush with the Empire, is when he's 8, 9, 10, however old he's supposed to be. We see it. The first time he lays eyes on the Empire, they kill the leader of his people. They killed his parents, they killed the leader, and he's like, fuck them.
It's just like, yeah, like all of these different things happening. And at 6 years old, that is a huge, like,
Meg, do you have any memories from being 6 years old? Because I don't think I do.
I have a few. My parents got divorced when I was 6 years old. So
My parents are still happy and together, so I have no memories of being 6.
yeah. Maybe that's the reason why I remember being 6 years old.
Title of the episode: My parents stopped loving each other when I was 6.
6 years old is like a horrible time to like grow up so fast. I mean, you're so little, and he had to take on so much responsibility. And I think
No.
honestly, that's one of the reasons why he's super selfish.
Well, it's also too, I mean, he grew up having to do everything for himself. And it's like, now I remember how he and his sister get separated because I remember from when I first watched the show. But after he is separated from his sister and he grows up, he has to fight to take care of himself still, but he's just
Yeah.
taking care of himself. I think for a while, Cassian was less selfish when he was younger because he was taking care of his sister. As I know, he gets separated from his sister fairly quickly in the show, will be separated from her post haste. And because of that, not necessarily like only child syndrome, but he grew up having to fight to protect himself and knowing that like he has to fight for himself because no one else is going to do it for him. He's got to protect himself. And I think that made him more selfish. But I think joining the resistance when he eventually does in the show is what teaches him to fight instead of for the person, but to fight for the collective instead,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite parts of his character arc in the Star Wars universe, really, from Andor all the way to Rogue One. So,
Yeah. I will say it's really interesting though. I guess because he did everything himself and everything, but he still had his group of people. So it did have like show probably he could kind of rely and trust some people. So that's
mhm.
really interesting to see how that carried over and how he trusts his Bix and everything. Because if people are usually like extremely self sufficient like that, they don't even think about asking anyone for. They think it's always like I've got this, but he's asking people like, "Hey, you need to cover for me," or "Hey, can you arrange this for me?" Usually, it's interesting to see how he is, trusting still.
Right. It's not even really that he's trusting. He's trusting other people to help him, which is a different thing. Because even now, 2 episodes into Andor, there is something about him that makes people help him, even if they don't really like him all that
He's
much,
charismatic.
he's very charismatic, but it's also there's an like a sort of aura about him that's very much like he feels dangerous in a way that like he's not necessarily unstable, he's not necessarily super violent, but he's really smart and he's really
Mhm.
cunning, and it's easier to do things for him than to let him do things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
So it's
for sure.
it's interesting, but it's also too, I mean, Cassian is shown to care and to have empathy, but that's one of the things that this show builds on is his capability for empathy and his capability for protecting other people because he becomes obviously the hero of this show, this protagonist, and him and Jin quite literally save the world. Not even the world, the galaxy. So, Luke is the one that fires the shot, but him and Jin are the one that get the plans. So, Jin couldn't have done it without him. He couldn't have done it without her.
I feel like he just has a really great character development.
Another thing that you and I both brought up, but I wanted to touch on, was the use of warm tones and cool tones, especially
Yes.
in the set decorating and also in the lighting as well. I made a note. I just wrote cool equals empire, warm equals resistance, or at the very least, like anti-empire. The stark difference between like the sterile white and
Mhm.
the blue toned lighting and the very like open and spacious feel of Morlana 1 versus the warm like browns and muted yellows and oranges of Ferrix, where Ferrix is obviously, very obviously like a city with lots of brick and lots of stone. The differences between those two are so stark in comparison,
It is.
and I
Yeah.
love it. I love
I do
it.
too. I love a good, like, contrast difference and also, like, associating a color with each person. I mean, oh, there's so many films do that. I mean, Vertigo does that, like, all of that. So I think I love it. And then, I think it's really interesting too is that even though a lot of the lighting, like, there is a lot some warm lighting and stuff like that, the lighting in his apartment or his home or whatever was a lot more, like, cool tone, but then when Vix came over, there was that warm lantern right there where she was, like, that warmth.
Right.
And then another thing too is whenever he called basically like ice, like you said, on Cassian, he went under that light and it was a very much a cool sterile light.
Right.
So it's kind of like showing like, hey, I'm calling like the Empire. So
Yeah. The turn from people Cassian can trust to people Cassian cannot trust.
exactly. And I think just like kind of seeing those things and how the colors and lighting correlates is
Mm-hmm.
chef's kiss.
So good. Well, those are the end of my notes. Anything else from you before we wrap up this reaction? Oh.
Whoa, I guess not.
Sorry, guys. Megan's camera died. We're unsure. But thank you for watching. We are going to be checking out the next episode of Andor very, very soon. We're going to be doing all of Andor Season 1, as well as Season 2 when that comes out. And we'll probably do Rogue One at some point as well, because that is my favorite of the Star Wars movies. You guys can check us out on social media, rated MA. We will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.